Hello, Phil Swann here again with another episode of Together, where we look at well-being, good mental health, and the Christian hope. This is the third in a little series where we're looking at the issue of resilience. Now, resilience has been described as the ability to struggle well. And last time we saw that all of us are actually stronger than we often think that we are. That phrase, struggle well, is interesting, isn't it? I think it sums it up. It reminds us that resilience is about being able to keep going when things are hard and things are difficult. Often we approach life in a way where if things get difficult, we want those difficulties taken away. And sometimes that's the right thing if we're in pain or something like that. But resilience enables us to keep going when things are hard, when things are difficulty. So where does the will and where does the courage to struggle well come from? Because you might say, well, actually, when it comes to difficult things, I tend to throw in the towel quite quickly. So how can someone like me learn to struggle and struggle well? Is it just down to your temperament? Maybe some people have told you that. I'm just one of these types of people. Some people are more resilient than others. Well, in a way, that's true, but actually, I don't think it's anything ultimately to do with temperament. You might say, is it because you've got good people around you who can help you and support you when you're struggling? Well, certainly that can help. But the real center for struggling well is found not in other people, not in your temperament, but it's found in your thoughts. It's found in your mind. What we do as people comes from what we think. So if we think something's too hard or too difficult for us or too much for us, we'll move away from it. We'll step away. Maybe we'll shut down. Maybe we'll say no. Maybe we'll walk away. And often when we do that, we feel a bit of shame. But what would happen if our thoughts were more positive? I can do this. I think I can keep going. This is really hard, but I reckon I can get through this. For some of us, it would make a huge difference, wouldn't it? People tell us, in us as human beings, we have something that's called the negativity bias. The negativity bias. You know what a bias is? Crown bowls, not the 10-pin bowling type, the other type, where those clever, usually retired people roll that wood along that beautifully manicured green to get to the jack, and they send it on an arc. It looks like it's going completely the wrong way until eventually the wood starts to come back to exactly where they want it. What's happened there? Well, there's a little weight on the one side of that wood, and it creates a bias. It means the wood is always going to roll in that direction, so to overcome that bias, they have to send it in the opposite direction. So eventually get it exactly where they want it. We all have a bias, and it's a negativity bias. Someone once wrote, the brain is like Velcro for negative experiences, but Teflon for positive ones. In other words, the bad things that happen to us, the frightening experiences, the negative experiences, well, they stick to us. We remember those so well. But the good things, well, it's like a non-stick frying pan. It just runs off, and we don't often retain it. Now, sometimes there's good reason for that. When you're growing up, you learn if you put your finger in that bright, sparkly thing, the fire, you're going to get hurt. So eventually, quickly, you learn those negative experiences, and the negativity bias we think is for our survival and for our safety. But sometimes it can hold us to ransom. And sometimes it can control us to the point where even the most simple things in life, we find ourselves saying, oh, I can't do that. No one would want to listen to someone like me. No one would be interested in me. I'm only going to fail. I'm only going to make a fool of myself. I'm only going to do something stupid. And because of those negative thoughts, you don't do it. And you get frustrated and disappointed. So what can you do about negative thoughts? This is quite tough. The first is recognize that you have them. What are my negative thoughts? Those times when you quit, when you really wished you could keep going, What was it that stopped you? Identify them. They were thoughts. They were just ideas. It was my way of thinking about me and the world around me. And when you've recognized them, challenge them. Are they really true? Is this really right? A few episodes previously, we talked about this under the title of Taking Your Thoughts to Court. Maybe it'd be good to go back and watch that video. But as well as challenging them, you need to talk positively. You need to change the channel from the negative channel to the positive channel. I've got this. I can do this. I've done this before. I'm going to get through this. I've got good people around me. I've got years of experience. I can do this. So, what do we do with negative thoughts? Recognize them, challenge them, and change them. Now, I realize it's not as simple as it may sound right now. But this week, try to apply yourself. You find a situation that you find yourself naturally walking away from. Ask yourself why. What are those thoughts? Challenge them and try to replace them with positive thoughts, or at least one positive thought. Thinking of challenging ideas, the whole of Christianity challenges ideas. The New Testament shows this, and our world shows it today. And if there's one idea that we have as human beings that Christianity challenges, it's this, that I'm good enough for God. That I live a life that's not been easy. I'm not perfect. After all, nobody's perfect. But deep down inside, I'm a good person. I want to do the right thing, and I try really hard. And so many of us think that that's all that we need for God to look at us and give us the thumbs up. Because the Bible tells us something very different, and it is very challenging, and it is very negative. It says that we've all sinned and come short of his standards, which means that no matter how hard we try, no matter how good we are, we can never try enough and we'll never be good enough for God. And that really is bad news. But it tells us that we might be pointed to the positive of what Jesus Christ has done. Because he's lived a life that is good enough. And he's died a death that can deal with all of our sins. And that's why Christianity simply and clearly and repeatedly tells you to put your faith in Jesus and not in yourself. He's good enough. And if we put our faith in him, we find ourselves in a wonderful place of being eternally accepted to God. Christianity challenges ideas. And this week I want to see you challenging the negative ideas and moving forwards into greater resilience. Well, God bless you and keep you.